is happening, Magnus sites? See what the drinker thought of Mario. Wahoo! Waha! It's me, Mario. Oh.
Truly, we are living in strange times. A world where new Marvel and Star Wars movies are greeted with almost universal indifference, and a movie about a fat Italian plumber chugging magic mushrooms to fight a giant dinosaur is on track to make over $1 billion. And you know what?
I have seen
love
some
it.
stories.
I mean, when it comes to making their transition to the big screen, Mario and Luigi have had a bit of a rocky history. 9-year-old me sat through the Bob Hoskins and Dennis Hopper movie way back in 1993, completely and utterly baffled at what I was seeing. A situation that remains unchanged to this very day. The film was such a nightmarish disaster that it basically soured Nintendo on the idea of big screen adaptations for the better part of 30 years.
How could they even have thought to do that? When I saw that, when I saw that, I was Team Nintendo. Okay? There was nothing that would have taken me away from being Team Nintendo. Although if many of you have seen my video on why I no longer play Nintendo, you understand why. But, holy crap! When I saw this, I was baffled. I did not understand it. Because around that time, I don't even know. All I know is this, because what I was going to say is, I don't know if Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out before this or not, but I knew that puppeteering and suits and practical effects were good enough to where you could have did something that would have did it right. Whether it's wire work with the jumping, all that other stuff, they knew how to do special effects. I don't get why they did this movie. It's one of those things where I'm like, okay, you multi-million-dollar studios can produce masterpieces, and at the same time you can produce something like this. So it makes me wonder, who's making decisions for something like this, and who's making the decisions for the masterpieces? Because they do both, and everything in between. I just don't get that. Horrible.
But it's amazing what a pair of successful Sonic movies from their old enemy Sega can do to change a company's minds. And so here we are in 2023, staring down the magical warp pipe of Super Mario Bros. The movie. It's nice to see that some rivalries never die. People have...
And I gotta say, overall, as far as, the portrayal of Mario and Luigi, I liked better than what they did with Sonic. The Sonic movies, as I've told you, to me, would have been trash without Jim Carrey. You take Jim Carrey out, they would have got 1 out of 5s from me. They just do not work for me. But Jim makes it work. Jim just makes it work. And some of the special effects with the fights are, some cool effects between Sonic and some of the stuff, that he does. But for me, he's irritating. But for this, they really did nail it for the most part. I know I had said I would have liked them to have kept Mario's voice. I know some people are kind of like, I don't know if that would have worked. It may have become irritating. And you're possibly right. However, I was fine with the commercial that they did. So I don't know. I may have gotten in the movie. I was fine with the commercial that they did with those voices. And then I heard people were saying, it's like people were afraid of cultural appropriation and making them too quote unquote ethnic. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got no problem putting some black folk in a movie though. Like, yo, what's happening? They ain't got no problem doing none of that though, right? You know what I mean? But anyway, I digress.
I've been going absolutely nuts over this film over the past week or so, hailing it as a turning point in the history of video game adaptations and possibly the future direction of Western cinema. Jesus, calm down, lads. But the reason you're probably watching this video is to find out if Super Mario Bros. Is actually any good, and more importantly, if it's worth parting with your hard-earned cash to go and see.
I gave it a 2.75, I think.
The answer is yes. Mostly. See, Super Mario Brothers is the kind of film that's tailor-made for precisely two kinds of people. Young kids who enjoy bright colours and fast-paced action, and middle-aged gamers looking to relive their childhoods.
Exactly.
If you fall into either one of these categories, then you're probably going to have a blast with this movie. And if you don't, then you're probably going to be left wondering what the fuck you just saw.
So what?
Shut up! Anyway, the movie centres around everyone's favourite Italian plumbers, Mario and his brother Luigi. They've just quit their jobs to start their own plumbing business in Brooklyn and sunk all of their money into a TV ad to promote it. Their first gig doesn't go particularly well, however, and when Mario's family question the wisdom of risking everything on his crazy pipe dream, Mario starts to have doubts about where his life is heading. Then he gets sucked down a magical warp pipe and transported into an alternate dimension inhabited by talking mushroom people. So yeah, in case you hadn't noticed, the movie switches gears pretty quickly. Anyway, the gist is that the kingdoms in this land are under threat by Bowser, who's managed to get his hands on the Craggle.
And yes, Jack Black's song to Princess Peach is arguably the funniest thing in the whole damn movie. That is just, that was comedy gold right there.
The superstar that's going to grant him the power to destroy anything in his path unless Princess Peach agrees to marry him. Why exactly would a giant talking dinosaur be romantically attracted to a human female?
Don't know.
And what does he expect to get out of such a relationship?
Exactly.
Don't know, but it's a question that's haunted me ever since I was a little kid. Even more.
Well, it's the Twitter age, so it all makes sense now, right? It can happen, okay? I can be anything that I want to be. Thank you, drinker. How dare you?
First, Mario and Luigi got separated on the way here, and Luigi's now been captured by Bowser's minions, leaving Mario with only one choice. Team up with Princess Peach, fight his way to Bowser's castle, rescue his brother, and save the Mushroom Kingdom. Oh yeah, and in order to get there, they're going to need an army, which means recruiting Donkey Kong to join the fights. As I said earlier, this movie is heavy on references, in-jokes, and callbacks to the classic platforming games, and if you're not familiar with the lore of those games, then you're definitely going to be left wondering what's going on. That being said, for people like me who wasted months replaying every level of Super Mario World or Donkey Kong Country looking for every possible hidden secret, it's a pretty cool experience when you realise how much stuff they were able to cram in here. There's a definite sense of reverence for the source material and a desire to reward longtime fans of the games. Oh my goodness, respect for the lore and for the customers? What kind of bizarre world are we living in here? The plot itself isn't exactly complicated and the characters aren't going to inspire 5-hour video essays about their hidden meanings and motivations, but then again, what were you expecting? The original games weren't exactly heavy on story either, and I don't think many kids back then were desperate to know Mario's entire personal history or the intricate political situation of the Mushroom Kingdom. That being said though, I think there was more scope to tackle slightly more complex ideas than they did here. The best animated movies are the ones that appeal to both kids and the adults that took them to the movie theatre in the first place, working in subtle but mature story and character beats that appeal to different generations. Like, there's a reason people still get emotional at the intro to Up, or the ending for Toy Story 3, the bittersweet acknowledgement that sooner or later we all have to say goodbye to the simple innocence of our childhoods and leave behind the once treasured objects that went on the journey with us. Stuff like that tugs at the heartstrings of kids that know eventually it's going to happen to them, but it hits even harder for the parents who already went through it. Basically what I'm trying to say with all this pish is that there isn't really that same complexity of emotion or storytelling here. It's simple, straight up entertainment, and the only real theme that you can draw from it is the value of determination and loyalty to the people that you care about. Pretty universal and inoffensive ideas, but hardly groundbreaking stuff. But as simple as they are, I think most of the characters come across as likeable and fun. Mario's a plucky underdog that everyone underestimates, driven by family loyalty and able to pick himself up and carry on when the going gets tough. He struggles and fails but never quite gives up, and always finds a way to pull through to the end. Luigi's timid and reluctant, preferring to follow his brother's lead and always looking to Mario to protect him. He's probably the least well-served character in the movie, since he spends most of his time locked up waiting to be rescued. And although he does redeem himself at the end,
yes,
it would have been nice to see the two brothers working together a bit
except
more.
at the end.
Princess Peach seems to be the biggest bone of contention for most people, and it's not hard to see why. The modern Hollywood trend of elevating female characters into annoying, obnoxious girl bosses who can do everything that men can do, but better, is pretty well known at this point. And if the rumours are true, that's exactly what the studio had planned before Nintendo stepped in and overruled them. And if that's the case, then fucking hats off to them, because I think this version of the character manages to walk a pretty careful line, able to make decisions and look after herself without overshadowing and belittling the actual protagonist of the movie. Yeah, there's one or two little occasions when she's a bit too good at everything she does, and I noticed that the finale carefully adheres to the golden rule of modern writing that a woman can never be directly rescued by a man, but whatever. The point I'm making is that while she gets to do more than just scream at Mario, help me, she's a perfectly likeable and charming character all by herself. Ultimately, for all its simplicity and lack of narrative depth, Super Mario Bros. Comes across as the perfect palate cleanser for audiences worn down by divisive, preachy, and mean-spirited animated movies from the not-so-magic kingdom, or tedious and played-out superhero flicks in the twilight of their genre. And for all I joked about it at the start of this review, the box office numbers speak for themselves. We could just be witnessing a real shift in Hollywood and the kind of films that they make going forwards. The era of the comic book movie is coming to an end, and after decades of false starts and misfires, the age of the video game adaptation might just be upon us. And quite frankly, I'm more than ready for it. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
So, yeah, that little bit about the comic book movie industry or whatever being over. They keep going this direction. It's all over. I'm already at a point to where I don't even care when a new movie is coming out. Like, it's like I do and I don't. Like, I don't expect to be entertained by it. I'm concerned that I may not be entertained by it. Or I could be. It's a crapshoot. Every time. So, yeah, considering the stuff that we're subjected to these days, I mean, Mario is going to please people way more than the other garbage that's out there. So, good job, Drinker. Good job. Thinking he might have liked it a little bit more than me. He doesn't have a rating system, but it's maybe. I mean, I gave it a 2.75. It's almost a 3, but it's still above average entertainment. 2.5 is average right there in the middle. You know what I mean? Above average is anything above that, So, yeah. But I think that I think I said in my first review, I said I don't know if it's going to hit $1 billion, but yeah, I can see it's gearing up. And I heard it hasn't even been released in Japan yet, so there you have it. Once it's released in Japan, probably will, and then that's it. So there you go, Disney. Listen up. Post comments down below. Let me know what y'all thought if you enjoyed my thoughts. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and share, and get over to the drink here and subscribe. Tell them Tyrone Magnus sent you. 2 million subscribers. Woo!